Good morning, happy Friday. Welcome to Yoga with Lauren. We're approaching our week of 100 degrees, hot temperatures here in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene and the surrounding area, and I think most of the West. So keep yourself cool, take care of yourself, drink lots of water, don't spend too much time in the sun. Especially be careful if you're on the water, because sometimes you don't notice maybe how much sun you're getting when you're out there on the water. All right, so today's practice is going to be a gentle practice. We'll start on our back and mostly be on our back. We might transition off our back depending how things go. So one thing you may want, if you have a yoga belt, you might like that. If you don't have a yoga belt, that's fine. Maybe you have a belt from a robe. You don't need a belt. You can work without one. But if you have one, you might want to grab that. You can either pause this video or go grab that now. And scratch my nose, drink some tea, and then we'll move into our seated centering. You know, it's always nice to have a blanket handy when you're doing yoga, especially if you have a hard floor. So gather your props, take your drink of whatever, and then we'll get started. Alrighty, please come to a comfortable seated position in a chair or on the floor. If you're in a chair like me, take both feet to the floor. Think about grounding through even your feet and your sit bones into whatever you're seated upon, and sitting up taller, lengthening your spine up to the ceiling. Closing your eyes if that's comfortable for you, and beginning to find your breath. Taking a nice inhale through the nose and a full exhale. If it feels serving, you can sigh and blow air out through your mouth on the exhale. Into the nose, blowing air out through the mouth. Or you might prefer just to breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. I want you to see what feels better for you, what helps you relax, what helps you come home to your breath, come home to your body, come home to yourself, and then just continue to breathe. A deep inhale and a full exhale, allowing yourself to soften, allowing yourself to relax. Allowing yourself to let go and just to breathe. At the end of your next exhalation, you can slowly begin to open your eyes, bring your attention back in your room, and then place your palms to face up in your lap. On your next inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, reach for the ceiling. Palms come together, exhale your hands down to your heart. Say a thank you to yourself for doing this practice. And if there's someone or something in your life you'd like to extend some love and light to, you can think of that person, persons, or situation now. Good, and then you can release your hands and we will come up to standing unless you need to be in a chair. If you had an injury going on or if you just felt like being in a chair, that would be okay. We'll move into our wake up routine. Breathing in through your nose, I have an itchy nose, can you tell? And out through your mouth. The whole time at your own pace. Continue that breath and then find your collarbones, trace down below and start thumping, tapping, rubbing right below your collarbones, because this is the end point of your kidney meridian, helping to wake up your whole energy body system. And remember, you're still inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth as you do this. Use whatever type of touch feels good for you, as far as maybe fists for pressure or just tapping like I am, or you can even rub those spots, okay? So tune into what feels good for you, work at a pace that feels good for you. Let's wake yourself up. whenever you're doing this. And then come to the center of your chest. You can use 1 or 2 hands, thumping over your sternum, hitting over your thymus gland, helping with your immune system with this thump. Remember your own pace and pressure. Doesn't have to look like me. And breathe in through the nose, out through the nose at a pace that's comfortable for you. Side seams of your breast or pectoral muscles, our third thump, the end point of your spleen meridian, about where your bra line would be if you were wearing one. Good, and then come right under your eyes, bony cheekbone area. Hoping to ground your energy with this thump here under your eyes. Getting those yawns out, maybe. This wake up gets the yawns out for me, and I see it happen for other people when I teach it. Okay, shake your hands off. Take a moment to pause, find stillness and silence. You're welcome to close your eyes. Just take a few breaths, tuning into your energetic body. And open your eyes if they're closed. We'll dive into the cross crawl. You tap one arm to the same leg, opposite arm to the same leg as you inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. And then you're gonna stop that and shake your hands off, opposite arm to opposite leg, like so, and then continue. It's marching in place, essentially. You don't have to lift this leg, but if it feels good, you can lift it as high as you want. You can make this, really more active, or it can be slower. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. So this is helping pick your energy up and move it in a crosswise pattern. We want our energy to move in crosswise patterns. Work at your own pace. All right, stop that, shake your hands off. Moving into the zip up, helping protect us from absorb other people's energy. And it's a wonderful time to set an intention for your day. If there's a way you want to feel, you could think of that word. And then take your hands in front of your low body. On your next inhale, sweep your hands right up the center line, tap your chin. As you exhale, your hands come down around you. Continue 2 more times, your own pace. Inhale, pull energy up, maybe pull your intention up. Exhale, send that energy and tension down around you until you've done 3. After you've completed 3, the hookup is next. Third finger of either hand to your belly button, opposite third finger between your eyes. And if you don't want to push in, like you don't want to push in on your belly button, that doesn't feel good, just hover your fingers. Otherwise, as you inhale, gently press in, pull up. Exhale through your mouth. 2 more times, your own pace. Once you've completed 3, release your hands. The hookup also helps protect you from absorbing other people's energy, and it helps to connect the central and governing meridians of your body, one running up the front, one coming up the back, over the top of your head, meeting about at your mouth area. So connecting those meridians as far as the energetic body goes. Okay, so we're gonna come on down to the floor. Maybe you want that yoga belt, if you have one, or bathrobe belt, or if you don't have a belt, I don't have one, we'll be fine. So come on down to your back. Maybe you want to have a blanket or pillow nearby in case you need to pat anything. All right. Get me in the camera. Extend your legs long, extended. Feet on the floor. And have your hands on your belly. Start taking a nice deep inhale. Full exhale. And feel your belly move as you do that breath. And then continue at your own pace. A few deep breaths. Feeling your belly move. As you're ready, on your next inhale, reach your arms overhead. Stretch long from your toes to your fingertips and push your low back into the floor. And then continue some deep breaths. Stretching from your toes to your fingers. Releasing your bones to gravity. I always think it feels nice to be on your back, being supported by gravity. Okay, now I want you to walk your hands slightly over to the right. So actually I'm yeah, we can do the right. Okay, over to the right. Once you start teaching yoga, your right and left get mixed up because you say one and do the other. So you're crescenting your hands over to the right, and then also walk your feet over to the right. So you're in a bit of a C shape with your body, and just keep walking over until you can feel a little bit of stretching sensation on your side. If you don't feel any sensation, cross your left foot over your right. Ooh, you might feel a little more in your hip. So you typically would feel it here, but you might feel it somewhere else. Just breathe there in that bit of a C curve with both your feet and your hands crescented over to the right side, so you're kind of forming a C with your body. And like I said, if you want to deepen the stretch, you take that left foot over your right. That's almost too much for me because my hips are really tight this morning, so just breathe here. Breathe some space into the left side of your body. Try and relax your shoulders down your back. Okay, and then come on back to center and just take a few moments in the center, finding your breath, relaxing your shoulders, relaxing, pushing your low back into the floor, softening through your ribs, your face, your jaw, your shoulders, your neck. And then you're gonna crescent. Let's start with our feet this time. Move your feet over to the left, walk your heels over, and then arms. Probably looks a little funny on camera, but you're just forming a C type shape with your body by walking your feet to the left and your arms and hands to the left. If that doesn't give you some sensation on your right side or in your hip, take your right foot over your left. On this side, I feel like I could maybe do that. And then breathe and extend through your fingertips, walk out through your feet, just breathe. I can really feel it in my hip flexor area. You might feel it in different areas, but once you cross that, if you cross the foot over, it gets a little more into your hip flexor. Breathe wherever you feel sensation. Just breathe. One more deep breath. And then uncross your legs if they're crossed. Slowly walk your hands and feet back so you're in a straight line and release your hands down. Ah, it feels good because you get a nice shoulder stretch with your hands overhead. So I'm like, oof, coming out of that. All right, find your breath. Oh, take a yawn if you need to, like me. And then go ahead and take your right knee, hug it in towards your chest, but pull it up towards your armpit area a little more than right on, like squeezing into your belly. So knee hugged into armpit area, and just really squeeze that knee in. I want you to think about that you're rooting your femur bone in the hip socket, so really pushing this knee in helps root your femur bone in the hip socket. Push out through your left foot long on the floor. If you have extremely tight hips and you need to bend your left knee, you could, okay? Otherwise long. And then begin to circle your right knee. Try to work slow, please. You might work, slightly faster than me, but just think about going slow as you circle your right knee. I like to have my hands on my knee when I do this. You don't have to. You might have one hand. I think it's good to at least have one hand, but just, FYI. When you have a hand, you can put a little pressure to keep that femur bone rooted while you do this circle. And then start to circle the opposite direction. Finding your breath. Good, and then again, squeeze that knee into your chest. Here's where if you have that belt, you can put the belt around your foot, or if you don't have a belt, grasp behind your right hamstring, start to push your right heel to the ceiling, straightening that leg to your capacity. Really push through your right heel, pull your toes down, and then go ahead and point your toes towards the ceiling, and then flex your foot, pull your toes down, and do that a few more times. Point, flex, point your toes, flex your foot, point, and flex. Okay, have your toes down, toes pulled towards your nose, and then stare at your ankle bone. And don't start your circles yet. I want you to do ankle circles, but stare at your ankle bone. Try and initiate the movement, go slow from your ankle, not your big toe. A lot of times people do circles like this. They're flinging their big toe around. Look at your ankle and let it be about your ankle, the movement starting from your ankle, not your big toe. So typically you're going to need to move a lot slower as you do this ankle circle. then go ahead and circle the opposite direction, which, oof, going the opposite direction feels really hard for me. Maybe it does for you. But stare at that ankle and go slow and initiate the movement more from your ankle than from your big toe, which is probably maybe a new way to do ankle circles. A lot of times we're just really flinging our big toe around while we're doing an ankle circle. Okay, bring those toes back down, push through your heel. Breathe, relax your shoulders. And then take your right foot slightly over to the left, just enough until you feel a little deeper sensation in your right hip flexor, and push through your heel again. This gets into your piriformis, so you might feel like some almost like nerve tingling sensation if you have sciatic nerve pain. You might have like some tremors in your leg if you have tight hamstrings. It's all right. Breathe, try and soften and relax into it. And then as you're ready, arms come to the floor in a T. Roll that foot over, stacking your hips like a barrel. Push out through your right foot. Try to keep your right shoulder down if you can. So you're getting a little bit of a spinal twist. If you have something to push your right foot into, a wall, a chair, or if you want to stack blocks or a blanket under your foot, you can. And gaze wherever's comfortable. If you want more of a spinal twist to the right, opposite of your foot, or it might be towards the ceiling, or it might be to the left, whatever's most comfortable on your neck. And then bend that knee in. Come back with your knee, hug it into your chest again for a few breaths. And make sure you have enough room. We're gonna open our leg to the right this time. So I have this couch there that I'm gonna shimmy over so I have room to open my leg. So grasping behind your hamstring or with the belt, pushing your heel up towards the ceiling. And then if you don't have a belt, you're gonna take your hand to the outside edge of your leg, support it, take your left hand to your hip, keep your left hand down, open your right only so much that you can keep your left hip down. Of course, if you have the belt, you might be not having your hand on your left hip because you have the belt, but make sure that left hip stays down. Push through your heels. Let your right hip open to the right. Bend your knee. Release your foot down so that your foot is open to the right in tree pose type shape. If you need to, you could put a blanket or a block to support the outside edge of your right leg. Or you can take your arms in a T, or maybe you want to go overhead. It might be a little bit deeper to have your arms overhead. Just let your right leg open to the right in like a tree type shape on the floor. Tree pose, that is, I should say. Take your arms down if they're up. Use the outside edge of your right hand to support your right leg up, and stretch yourself long on the floor, both legs on the floor. Maybe rock side to side with your feet and hips. Finding your breath. And as you're ready, hugging your left knee into your chest this time. So towards your chest, but pull it down towards your shoulder. Your left knee, really rooting that femur bone in the hip socket. Breathing. Squeezing that knee in towards your left shoulder. And then begin to do some circles with your left knee, working slow. Keeping your hips down on the floor as you do these circles to your capacity. So I just don't want you kind of rolling over. I want you to keep your femur bone rooted as you slowly do these hip circles by circling your knee. Hip rotations, let's call them. And then circle the opposite direction. Work slow. Breathe. Good, squeeze that knee back into your chest. If you have a belt and you want to put it around your left foot. And it's better to have the belt not up at your toes, but more towards the middle or back of your foot, FYI. If you don't have a belt, grasp behind your left hamstring, push your left heel up towards the ceiling, and then pull your toes down towards your nose, extending also through your right foot on the floor, softening your face, your jaw, breathing. You might have a shaking leg. Push through that heel, breathe. And then point your toes towards the ceiling. And then flex your foot, pull your toes down, and continue pointing and flexing, pointing and flexing. Again, point and flex. Okay, keep your toes down, heels pushing to the ceiling. Stare at your left ankle and start an ankle circle initiating from the ankle, not your big toe. Okay, let your big toe try and remain with the rest of your toes and work slow. As you do an ankle circle, really focused on initiating your movement from your ankle bone. Finding your breath, and then opposite direction with your ankle circle. And then pull your toes down, push your heel up to the ceiling, extend, extend, extend. And then slowly take that left foot just a little bit over to the right until you feel a deeper sensation into your left hip flexor area. Push through your heel. Here we're getting that piriformis. Breathe, pull your toes down, push through your heel. Arms can come to the floor unless you have the belt. And then bring that left foot all the way over. I get a nice couch to push into. Stack your hips. Try and keep your shoulders down. It's really nice to have a wall to push your foot into. So if you want to adjust so you can do that, feel free. I've got some really tight hips this morning, so I can really feel these sensations. Feels nice. Just start to work into that area. If you have something you want to prop, if you don't have a wall to push your foot into, it can feel nice to make a little stack with blankets or blocks. If it feels uncomfortable that this foot's kind of hanging above the floor. And go ahead and bend that knee in, bring it back to center, hugging that knee first into your chest, and then as you're ready, either with the belt to the foot or grasping behind your hamstring, push your left heel up towards the ceiling again. Make sure you have room. We're going to open our left leg to the left, so support the outside edge of your leg if you don't have a belt. I like to take my right hand to my hip if I don't have a belt to keep my right hip down as I open my left. So only open your left leg as far as you can. I guess like my foot there. That your right hip stays down. And breathe and extend through both heels. Soften your face, your jaw, your neck, your hips, and breathe. Letting that opening happen. Breath helps let the opening happen. Sometimes we're not breathing and we're real tight and we just need to soften and breathe. Maybe even breathing into really strong sensation. Bend your left foot so that you're opening your left knee. Your foot can come in towards your upper right thigh so that you're in tree pose on the floor. Soften through your hips. Release. If you've got a lot of space between your left knee and the floor, you can put a blanket, pillow, a block under there to support it. Breathe. Try to relax through your hips, pushing your low back towards the floor. Okay, and then go ahead and bring that leg to the foot to the floor. Bring both feet to the floor. Try and scoot down more in the camera. So knees up, both feet to the floor. Find a few cleansing breaths. We're not quite going to do bridge pose, but you might think we will be, so I'm just warning you that we're not on this one. And I want you to lift your hips, shift them over to the right, let your knees fall in, and let your knees fall to the left. So essentially we're just getting into a spinal twist, arms long in a T shape on the floor. And then if you like, you can use one of your arms to grasp behind your right knee crease. We're doing a bit of a energy medicine yoga hold there while you're holding the back of your knee crease. And you can also, if you want to deepen this stretch, straighten your top leg, your right leg, and extend it straight line from your hip. Or you can keep your knees bent. And again, gaze is wherever's comfortable. So if you want to look to the right and get a little more spinal twist, that's a little deeper stretch. Or you could be at the ceiling, or you could look to the left, whatever feels most comfortable for your neck or whatever feels most comfortable for you. And then bend that top leg if it was straightened. Support the outside edge of your left leg as you bring those knees back up, feet to the floor, and shift your hips back so that you're back in the center of your mat. Maybe fidget around a little. Both feet are on the floor. As you're ready, lift your hips, shift your hips over to the left, put them down to the floor, knees fall into your chest, and then over to the right. Extend your arms in a T shape. Uh-oh, I got the couch. We'll see if I can push the couch away. So you can either stay here and you can grasp behind with either hand that feels comfortable, grasp behind your top left leg if you like, and you can extend your left arm straight. I'm gonna push my couch a little. Oh man, if you do have a wall you can push into, it gets so much more sensation into your left hip. But you can keep both knees bent in the spinal twist and then gaze again wherever's comfortable. You can look to the left, that deepens your twist. Look straight up, you could look to the right. What feels best for your neck and what feels best for you? Find that position and let's breathe for a little bit longer. Slowly bend your top leg if it was straight, and then return your hips and knees up to the ceiling, hips to center. Good, you're welcome to stretch out on your back and take a little bit of a Shavasana rest. I'm gonna roll up to a seated position. So really, if you need a Shavasana and that sounds serving, please just take a minute or two for a Shavasana. I'm gonna roll myself up to a seat. And in fact, we'll take 30 seconds in silence. You could either find a seated position or on your back before we close today's class. Finding your breath, releasing and relaxing. Take a nice deep inhale. Full complete exhale, blow your air out. Do that again. Deep inhale. Full exhale. You're welcome to continue your Shavasana or your meditation for as long as feels serving to you. And I just like to close and say a namaste. The light in me honors and recognizes the light in you. Thank you so much.